Welcome to Reasons for Hope Amidst Chaos. Today, we're going to talk about something we all desperately need right now: hope. Not the sugary, wishful thinking kind of hope that dissolves at the first sign of trouble, but the sturdy, resilient hope that the ancient Stoics knew. The kind that can weather any storm because it's built on something more substantial than mere optimism. Let's acknowledge the obvious. We live in chaotic times. The headlines scream crisis. Our phones ping with fresh disasters before breakfast. Climate change, political division, economic uncertainty, technological disruption. Sometimes it feels like we're collectively starring in the world's most stressful reality show, and nobody remembered to write an ending. As Marcus Aurelius might say if he checked Twitter, the universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. So, while I can't promise to eliminate chaos, frankly, nobody can, I can offer something perhaps more valuable: a way to stand firmly within it. The Stoics weren't optimists. They weren't telling us to slap a smiley face on tragedy or pretend everything's fine when it isn't. These were practical philosophers who lived through plagues, wars, exile, and political upheaval. Epictetus was born a slave. Seneca was ordered to commit suicide by Nero. Marcus Aurelius ruled during constant war and a devastating plague. These weren't sheltered intellectuals theorizing from ivory towers. They knew chaos intimately, which is precisely why their wisdom offers us genuine hope today. The bedrock of Stoic hope is this fundamental insight: some things are within our control, while others are not. Epictetus begins his handbook with this distinction because everything else follows from it. We waste enormous energy worrying about things entirely outside our influence, from the weather to other people's opinions to the past, while neglecting the one thing we truly can control: our own responses. This isn't resignation, it's liberation. As Epictetus said, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. The second source of hope comes from the Stoic emphasis on the present moment. We torture ourselves about a past we cannot change and agonize over futures that may never arrive. Meanwhile, we miss the only moment where action is possible: right now. Seneca wrote, "Two elements must be rooted out once and for all: the fear of future suffering and the recollection of past suffering, since the latter no longer concerns me and the former concerns me not yet." Hope doesn't require faith in a perfect future. It requires fully inhabiting this moment, where your power actually exists. The Stoics saw nature not as something separate from us, but as the great teacher. Look at how a forest regenerates after fire, how water finds new paths when blocked, how life persistently emerges in the harshest environments. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, all things are implicated with one another, and the bond is holy. Hardly anything is disconnected from anything else. The Stoics found hope in belonging to this larger system, which contains both order and chaos in a dynamic balance. Chaos isn't a mistake in the system, it's an essential part of how nature renews itself. At the center of Stoic hope is their conviction that virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance remains available to us regardless of external circumstances. No pandemic, economic crash, or personal setback can take away your capacity for kindness, fairness, or courage. As Seneca put it, the happy life is a life that is in harmony with its own nature. This gives us an unshakable source of meaning. No matter what happens around us, we can still act with dignity and virtue, and nobody can take that away from you. The Stoics practiced what they called the view from above, mentally stepping back to see events from a cosmic perspective. Marcus Aurelius regularly reminded himself how brief human life is against the vast timeline of the universe. Far from being depressing, this perspective generates profound hope. Your current problems shrink, the pressure eases, You see how even massive civilizational challenges are part of larger patterns. As Marcus wrote, look at the skies, the oceans, the movements of stars. It's like standing beside a clear mountain stream. Everything happens as it should, including your own suffering. Here's where the Stoics get counterintuitive. They practiced premeditation malorum, deliberately visualizing worst case scenarios, not to wallow in anxiety, but to realize they could handle even these outcomes. Seneca advised, set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, is this the condition that I feared? By facing our fears directly, we often discover they're more manageable than the monsters our imagination creates. And this discovery breeds genuine hope. The chaos we face isn't unique to our time. Every generation has encountered its own version of apocalyptic thinking. The Stoics remind us that humanity has weathered plagues worse than COVID, political corruption more extreme than anything we see today, and economic instability that makes our recessions look mild. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, to see things as they are, to do what we can, to endure what we must. The hope here isn't that challenges will vanish, it's that humans have remarkable capacity to face them with dignity. Though often portrayed as promoting emotional detachment, the Stoics deeply valued human connection. They simply distinguished between attaching to outcomes versus caring about people. Marcus Aurelius began his meditations by gratefully acknowledging everyone who had influenced him. Seneca maintained lifelong friendships through extensive correspondence. Hope emerges from remembering we're not alone. As the Stoics would say, we are all citizens of the same world, branches of the same tree. The Stoics valued humor more than they're given credit for. Epictetus regularly used jokes in his teaching. Seneca wrote that one should be as carefree as possible, since nothing of what we see is worth taking seriously. This isn't cynicism, it's perspective. The ability to laugh, especially at yourself, is profoundly hopeful. It suggests that no matter how dire things seem, there's always room for lightness. As Marcus Aurelius put it less humorously, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The Stoics were realists about human improvement. They knew virtue was an ideal we approach asymptotically, but never fully reach. This gave them patience with themselves and others. Epictetus taught, make progress one step at a time. First, don't be anxious. Second, don't be anxious about not being anxious. Hope doesn't require perfection, just movement in the right direction. The Stoics would tell us to celebrate small victories while keeping our eyes on the horizon. Everything passes, both good and bad. The Stoics found strange comfort in this impermanence, summarized in the phrase, this too shall pass. Marcus Aurelius wrote, observe how all things are continually being born of change. Nothing is so much to be feared as fear itself. When we're suffering, impermanence reminds us it won't last forever. When we're celebrating, impermanence reminds us to savor the moment. Both generate a grounded kind of hope. The Stoics viewed obstacles as opportunities, not in some trite bumper sticker way, but as genuine invitations to growth. As Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Chaos strips away pretenses and forces creativity. It reveals what truly matters. The hope here isn't that crisis is good. It's that humans have remarkable capacity to transform difficulty into wisdom. The Stoics would likely endorse what we now call rational optimism, not blind faith that everything will work out, but evidence-based confidence in human adaptability. Despite what headlines suggest, by many measures, from extreme poverty to child mortality to literacy, humanity has made remarkable progress. not because progress is inevitable, but because people like you chose hope and action over despair. Perhaps the most profound Stoic teaching is captured in Nietzsche's phrase, amor fati, love of fate, not merely accepting what happens, but embracing it as exactly what you need for your growth. As Epictetus said, don't seek for everything to happen as you wish it would, but rather wish that everything happens as it actually will. Then your life will flow well. This isn't resignation, it's radical acceptance that generates tremendous freedom and, yes, hope. For the Stoics, hope wasn't a feeling, but a practice. They would be skeptical of inspirational quotes that didn't translate to behavior. Seneca warned, what's the point of having countless books and libraries whose titles the owner could hardly read through in his whole lifetime? The abundance of books is distraction. The most hopeful thing we can do is take one small action aligned with our values. Today, right now. What's yours? Let's make this practical. What aspects of the current chaos are truly within your control? Which Stoic practice resonates most with your situation? What single action can you take today that aligns with your deepest values? Take a moment and pause this video to reflect or discuss with someone nearby. In closing, the Stoics offer us hope not by promising that chaos will disappear, but by showing us how to stand firmly within it. As Epictetus said, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. The chaos around us may well continue. The news cycle will keep spinning. The world will face new challenges. But within that storm, you have the capacity to act with wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. And that capacity, which no external circumstance can take from you, is the most profound reason for hope I know. Thank you